3 days to handing over anxiety everywhere, in Nigeria. Thank you for joining us. This is Nigeria Now on Equa Television International. And today we are going to look at some issues around the country, and then me and you are going to discuss, because like we always do, the discussion is all-inclusive. So wherever you are, we're live on Facebook and YouTube, so just do well to join us, in this conversation today. Good afternoon. My name is Sambo Solomon, and with me I have Joyce Dekada.
A pleasant afternoon to you, Sambo Solomon.
Yes, how are you doing?
Great, and you?
Yeah, looking forward to May 29. We're counting down,
Well, May 29th is a significant date in Nigeria because it marks the time at which Nigeria moved from transit from military rule to democratic rule, which is about the people electing their own representatives. So I think May 29th, beyond even the handover that a lot of people look up to and are awaiting eagerly, a lot of activities as we speak right now is actually going on. Plans, preparations, people are, as far as they are concerned, getting there should be ready for the transition as well as the handing over. But significantly, Nigeria's democracy, before the president moved it to June 12th, you will know that May 29 is significant. And when you mention that to every year, it reminds people of democracy when the power shifted to democratic rule. Yeah.
Well, today we have this fresh news, I would say, breaking news, that the Supreme Court has dismissed, the suit for the PDP suit against the Vice President-elect, Kashim Shettima, on a dual nomination.
Well, you know that's one of the suits that was filed against the APC and the vice presidential candidate after the election. Before the election, a lot of people were talking about the fact, it's unconstitutional, it's even against the Electoral Act. How can somebody have double nomination, vying for looking for the position of the Senate as well as being nominated for vice president? And this was something that the PDP anchored on and filed a suit against him. But while people await the hearing today, some people rumored that there won't be sitting, so that it will be after the swearing in and all of that. But just today, the Supreme Court dismissed that suit, even describing it as sad, because they said they were misled by the PDP. And they said the reason for that is because the suit lacks merit. And going by some of the defense coming from APC in the court side, they said, well, the vice presidential candidate of the APC actually dropped down as of July 2022, and he dropped that his the aspiration for the Senate seat, and he was replaced. And it was on that note that the court said, PDP just misled them, and it described that action as sad. And it was on that note that, yes, and misleading. On that note, the suit was dismissed today.
Okay. Yesterday we saw, the president-elect, receiving the highest honor of the land, which is GCFR, bestowed on him, and then, handed over the transition document, which I hear the outgoing president say this is the first in history, and even asking that if it's going to be possible, it should be part of history, it should be taken to our archive, that people, the nation, will continue, in that line, which I said, that's good, that's good. I just wish that the incoming government will have time to go through that document, because we are very good in putting documents in place, wonderful ideas, and the rest, and then but going through it to really keep it up, it is one issue with our leaders, and I'm hoping. And then the vice president receiving the honor of GCON, yesterday.
Well, Sambo Solomon, you expect that at a time like this, a lot of documents will be exchanging hand, a lot of preparations and all of that. And that is why ahead of the May 29th, the handover, that a lot of people were skeptical about, it's taking place or not taking place. Some say no, Tinubu should not be handed over power. He's not a duly elected president. Some are celebrating, yes, we voted him, he is the president. So while some people are celebrating, some people are expressing sadness over the whole of that activity. But for me, what strikes me the most is beyond the accepting or beyond the current president, talking about Muhammadu Buhari handing over these transition documents to Tinubu ahead of May 29th, as well as the baton of service, which indicates that government is a continuum, is the response that came out from the president-elect, talking about Bola Tinubu, saying that he's going to deal with the issue of insecurity as well as power crisis. He promised that he was going to deal with all of that, and it shows that he recognized that there is a problem that Nigeria is facing. And what is the problem? The issue of insecurity, power crisis. You will recall, you agree with me that if no matter how skillful you have people are, no matter how talented people are, no matter how people strive to succeed and to add to the GDP by engaging in small businesses, if there is no power, then it's going to cripple the business. At the end of the day, what you should have as profit will be what you are going to be using to buy fuel for generator in order to keep your business in place. Recognizing that Nigeria as a nation is faced with one of the biggest crises, which is insecurity, is on the good side. But is this new? Of course, it is not, because it was in 2015 that President Muhammadu Buhari anchored his ambition on dealing with insecurity. 8 years after, we will applaud him for doing a job well done, or we'll look back and say, no, the situation became worse, which of it you get. And you know that as we speak right now, kidnapping for ransom is like a new norm in Nigeria. These are things that you hear them happening like very far. But today you can just be in your house and then you just be picked, or a child is picked and all of that. Like everybody in Nigeria is familiar with kidnapping for ransom.
Living with us.
You get, and now they don't just do it, they kidnap you. So for some people, they lost their life. There are people that after the ransom are being paid, those victims are being killed and all of that. So governance, the primary responsibility of government is the protection of lives and property, and we always maintain, if you fail in this primary responsibility, then you are failed. There's no project that you point to and people applaud you when people have died. There's no job you talk about, creation of job or whatsoever, infrastructural development, and if the people are not there to occupy that place, then you have failed. Governance is about the people, and if our leaders understand and know this, then they will do all it takes to protect the people. It's just unfortunate that today people that we see are people that just are after personal interest. If it doesn't suit my interest, I don't stay there. If I'm being elected, once I get there, the first thing I think of, how can I accrue wealth to myself and my family? How can I move out and then invest in other countries? How can my children move out to other nations and then get educated? We don't think about impacting on our own educational system, development of our own country. But since as president-elect is recognizing and admitting to the fact that Nigeria is faced with security and power crisis and vowing to deal with that issue, we look forward to that. Indeed, government after handing over the baton of service, he recognized that it's governance is about continuity. But even though on the sad note, a lot of people come into power and don't continue with what the past administration did. But of course, going by the declaration by INEC, it is the same APC that has ruled for 8 years that are still coming into power. We hope that the needful will be done, even though a lot of people are still hoping on the courts, on the judiciary to do the needful.
You talked about the issue of continuity. Yes, it is very important, and is one of the things that I would say, contributed to even our in our own development, because you see our previous government coming with a very good idea, very good proposal, very nice project, that will improve the life, of the citizens. But you just see another administration is coming. I'm just saying this not on the federal level, but even cut across down to even local government. Like somebody will just come and we just abandon, whatever project or whatever project that his predecessor, is doing, and then you know, because you are not the one with the idea, or you feel it's not your money, it's government money, so you think you can just carve another money and just do, and that's why you will see uncompleted projects, you know, scattered everywhere around the country, and you see very good, let's say, government policies, you know, that were being abandoned simply because some people feel, some leaders feel they are not the one that, you know, piloted the, you know, the whole idea, so they feel they are not going to align their kind of leadership with that kind of particular proposal or idea or project thereabout, and it affects us. And you see us still spending more money and then leaving projects and then still going again for loans, you know, and you begin to think, you know, how are our leaders thinking, you know, in the midst of saying we are in a global economic meltdown, you know, in a situation whereby we are going on recession, you know, things are not really going well with the country, and then you see our leaders putting money in places that they doesn't seem.
Sambo Solomon, gone are the days that projects are initiated because of the needs in those locations, in those places. Right now, most leaders come up with projects because of political interest. Now, that is why
project that will benefit them and their associates.
No wonder today you see a university main campus in this particular location. You have to travel 3 hours to see the permanent site. Like, you will see a faculty of a particular university moved from that area to another local government that you have to travel hours to get there. So now people initiate projects based on interest, and no wonder you see that when current administration starts a project, when others come in, they abandon such projects and then they decide to initiate their own. But we look forward to a time where we'll see leaders or governments that would think about the people, that would think of service from the heart to the people, and not just about, oh, what I stand to benefit as a person or as individual.
Instead of looking at personal interests, we should look at the national interest first. True. And that's where patriotism plays. You know, while talking about Nigeria borrowing money here and there, you know, to pay contractors, where we are counting just 3 days to go, and then you hear proposals coming to National Assembly, you know, for approval, you know, either for this contract or for this particular reason. And then the National Assembly itself, the National Assembly, we are talking about 30.2 billion severance package.
Well, the issue of, or will I say, severance package is not something new or unfamiliar to Nigerians, but it is one that a lot of Nigerians have frowned out. And that is because at the end of every 4 years, there's always a severance package that has been given to lawmakers and their aides. And then for the 9th National Assembly, 30.2 billion naira was allocated for that severance package, and it is captured in the 2023 budget of the National Assembly. But a lot of people are concerned about lowering the cost of governance. A lot of times we've talked about borrowing. You recall that recently there was more like some last-minute decisions by the president about loans, requesting that the National Assembly assent to some of the loans that he wants from the Ways and Means, and then amongst many others. Some people frown at that, talking about the fact that you just have barely 16 days, you have barely how many days to go, and you're requesting for loan. At the end of the day, who is to pay? Some people even say, with all the issues that Nigerians face with, they don't even envy the incoming administration, because this is the burden that you're left with. Some people express concern for the next generation. How do we pay this? Already, the Bible even clearly states that the borrower is a slave to the lender. So at the end of the day, what becomes our fate? Because we have borrowed, and borrowed. The president came out lately to explain reasons for some of these decisions he made. Oh, I want to do projects, I want infrastructural development, and I need to borrow to execute all of that. And that's some of the reason. Now, I'm talking about the 30.2 billion severance package for members of the National Assembly or for lawmakers and their aid. You will know that Nigeria has some of the poorest people in the country. If we say governance is about the people, if we say democracy is about government of the people, by the people, and for the people, if we are saying it is a policy or is a system where the people know what they want and deserve it real good, then we should be talking about service to people, how that we can allocate funds to education, unemployment, the poorest people, how do we reduce the number to barest minimum, or how can we even like ensure that we deal with all of these issues that Nigeria is faced with. Insecurity now is at it's at its peak. It's either you always wake up each day with the news of killings, attack, kidnapping, banditry, this and that. How can we curb this? But what you keep seeing is money exchanging hand. I recall that the last 4 years, a lot of Nigerians have frowned at the severance package, the amount of money for the 8th National Assembly. The people kept talking about the fact that, oh, this money is humongous. Not just this money that is being allocated, there are some mouth-watering allowances that include cars, wardrobe, and other things. So why won't people kill to get to the National Assembly if each day what you keep seeing is money is being exchanged and money exchanging hand? Now, as we speak, a lot of lawmakers are being, some lawmakers are being given money here and there in millions because some people want to become Senate President, some people want to become Speaker. Why are they paying that amount of money to get there? These are some of the reasons, and these are some of the questions we need to ask ourselves. If it is about service to the people, then why do I need to bribe people in millions? Why do I need to give people cars, rice, so that they can vote for me to become the Senate President? Now, let me just break it down for you. From this 30.2 billion naira, the Senate President, now we come to the Senate, the President of the Senate is to get 7.45 million naira. The Deputy Senate President is to get 6.9 million naira. And coming to the House of Reps, Speaker is to get 7.43 million, and Deputy Speaker 6.86 million naira. The remaining lawmakers are to go home with 5.9 million each. Apart from that, they still go home with their cars. And then if you wish to go with the furniture and some of the computers in your office, you can go with them. And when you put all that together, it's worth 5.5 billion naira. From which accounts? At the time that we are talking about a country that has low per capital income, at the time that we are using like our revenue is even like not up to something that we can even say boast of that we are doing project, because if we have to borrow to do project, now how are we isn't this 30.2 billion naira humongous? We kept talking about, oh, the cost of governance needs to be brought down and all of that, yet we're sharing this money. I think people will not kill to be there. It was just the week to election, and even on election day that we saw how that some stakeholders in various political parties were being killed. Let's begin to see governance and leadership about the people. And when we see it about the people, then we'll come up with projects, things that will be of benefit more to the people. Some people ask, oh, don't the lawmakers deserve this? They do. They do, yeah. They do, but looking at the present economic situation, we're talking about decline in economy.
That we borrow to do virtually,
so why
like
are
everything.
We
you borrow to pay salary.
30.2 billion naira. At this, as we speak right now, Johesu are on strike, on paid allowances, among others. Some primary school, secondary school teachers, some states, cut across different states, when you go, they are currently on strike. You ask them, they tell the last time I received salary was in February. We're in May. May is almost rounding up. And then yet some people are going home with millions, cars. The likes of the governor of Rivers State that has over 1,000 aides. Think about the cost. Isn't that a burden, overburden to the state? If they are to go with all of that, at the end of the day, the new ones will come. The new lawmakers come. You have to do all of that for them. A country that has low per capita income. So I think some of these things we need to reconsider. We can't keep talking about cost of governance, and we're doing all of this. I think the people should be at the forefront. Like, let our thoughts be about the common man on the street, beyond those political office holders.
Yeah. Well, we won't lose hope in our country, and we will keep believing and trusting God that that new Nigeria that we all dream of, and then we are all expecting to see in the future will come to pass. But the change, it starts with us. We have to do the right thing, from our own given responsibility. You talk about the leaders, you have to honor. You have to take a responsibility. You have to know that you are there because someone agrees that, yes, he wants you to represent him there. And then by going there, we should hear you speaking with the mouth of the people, not talking about yourself. Because like you rightly said, most of these things, happen simply because some of these leaders, or most of them, go there with their own personal interests, and that is why things are going like that. Because if we are in a situation whereby things are not really going well with the country, and then you see these leaders living one kind of flamboyant life, and then they rub it on even the masses, and what do you expect? And that is why if you check the issue of crime, sometimes it's difficult to control, because you want to control, but they look at you that it's like we are just doing the same thing. It's just that you are doing your own, maybe with a pen and biro, thinking that yes, the law put everything in place for you to get what you are supposed to get. But what is the difference? In what you are doing, while you are robbing with pen and paper, I'm robbing with gun, and they feel they are just doing the same thing. I'm just thinking.
And Sabo Solomon, just so you know that this severance package that we're talking about, that obviously is a rub on Nigeria's democracy. Because as far as I'm concerned, the governance is about the people. Beyond this National Assembly, governors have their take-home as well. Ministers will have their take-home as well, and including some of these lawmakers. And just so you know that from this 30.2 billion naira is higher than what the 8th National Assembly got as severance package that a lot of Nigerians frown at. Now it is higher with additional 7 billion naira. And you begin to ask the question, on what ground? Because Nigeria has one of the highest paid, like Nigerian parliamentarians are one of the highest paid in the world. Yeah. That's including other allowances that I mentioned earlier, wardrobe allowances, cars, among other things. I think we should think again. Maybe this time around we should start considering this recall process. Maybe we don't know we have such powers. When we have people that are supposed to go out there and represent us and represent our interests, and they go out there and fight for their own personal interests, let's think of recalling them. And then we kept, even before the election, we kept talking about the fact that, see, the point of change is by electing the right people. It is when you elect the right people that will go there and come up with policies that will be of interest and benefit to everyone. But if we continue on the trajectory of selfishness, greed, nepotism, then we keep coming up with leaders, tons of leaders that will only make decisions that will benefit them. And that's why every four years we keep talking about frowning at the severance package. And like Sabo Solomon, in the next 4 years, maybe we'll not be talking about 30.2 billion naira, but another like higher than that, at the detriment of who? The masses, the common man on the streets. I think leadership is one of the problem that Nigeria has. And until we get it right by electing the right people, we continue this trajectory of going back and forth.
Thank you, Joyce, for doing this
Always
with
a
me.
pleasure.
For the viewer out there, we really appreciate you for giving us this your precious time for us to do this together. We'll still come up with another topic, so just keep faith with Ekwa Television. Bye-bye, and God bless you.